Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing great. Today I'm back with another video after so long and I'll be talking about how to crack INBDE in your first attempt. So I gave this exam for the very first time in January 2023 and got my result within 3 to 4 weeks after that. And guess what? It was a pass for me. But before giving this exam, I did a lot of research about the exam pattern, study resources and talked to a lot of people. So I'm here to spare you the time and effort in searching for the same. So let's begin the video without any further delay. So before doing anything else, I want you guys to go through these two websites firstly, where you will get all the information about INBDE, like what is INBDE, how's the exam pattern, what's the syllabus, how's the exam booking procedure, etc. I want to mention one important thing here, that before starting your preparation, you have to do something called as ECE evaluation, in which you have to send your educational transcripts to the concerned authorities in the US. And also, before booking your exam slot, you have to send your ECE report to ADA, which might cost you around 45 USD. And the total exam fee is around 1100 to 1200 USD. So now coming on to the exam pattern. So this exam is divided over 2 days, in which you have to attempt a total of 500 questions. I suggest you guys to schedule your day 1 and day 2 with at least 1 or 2 days break, as day 1 is really tiring. On day 1, you'll be attempting 360 questions in 8 hours 15 minutes, and on day 2, you'll be attempting 140 questions in 4 hours 15 minutes, of course with breaks in between. So basically, it's a test of both knowledge and patience. Let me tell you all in brief about what happened at the test center based on my experience. It might vary from one test center to the other. So once you enter the test center building, they'll give you a coupon or token which has to be shown at the test center counter, where they'll ask your details, examination appointment letter, your 2 IDs. Out of them, one could be your passport, your US state ID, your driving license, and other could be your debit or credit card with your name and signature on it. Then they'll assign you lockers to put your stuff in it. After that comes your screening, and then finally you enter your test room. So on the beginning of day 1 and day 2, you will start with watching a brief 15-minute video about how to use the testing software to answer your questions. So just watch it carefully. And after the tutorial comes section 1, in which there are 100 questions which has to be attempted in 105 minutes. And this time is more than sufficient to go through the questions twice or thrice. After section 1 comes a 15-minute optional break. I suggest that you guys should take this break, and even all the breaks for that matter. In this break, you'll have access to your lockers too. You can go use the restroom, eat, and even see your mobile phones. But please do not check answers to the previously attempted questions in this break, as this will only ruin your mood and then your exam later. Similarly, after section 1 comes section 2 and section 3, where you have to attempt 100 questions in 105 minutes each. The last section has 60 questions, and these are mostly case-based questions, where they will give you clinical scenarios, patient pictures, dental charts, and ask you questions from the same. Similarly, on day 2, you have to attempt 140 case-based questions divided into 2 sections of 70 questions each, which has to be attempted in 105 minutes each. Let me tell you one important thing, that this exam tests your clinical knowledge rather than your theoretical knowledge. So prepare accordingly. So I want to tell you all about this amazing thing called as Prometric test drive, which I encountered while I was booking my exam. So it's basically a 30-minute visit to your test center before you actually give the exam. The purpose of this test drive is to get to know the directions to your exam center, the screening procedure, how it's done, the testing room environment, testing software, etc. in order to avoid any last-minute surprises. I was staying in the US at that time, so I opted for this test drive 1 week before my actual exam, and it costed me around 30 USD. You guys can also opt for the same if you will be around your test center location few days before the actual test date. Then comes the most important thing, the study resources. After a lot of research, I came up with the following resources. The first and foremost is Mental Dental videos by Dr. Ryan. Hats off to Dr. Ryan for creating these amazing videos. I watched these videos twice or thrice and later made notes too. I also revised those notes twice or thrice. So once I watched the videos at least twice and made notes, then only I took the exam date. And along with that, I also took a 3-month paid subscription of Bootcamp app, which costed me around $299 USD. But trust me, it was totally worth it. Mental Dental videos and bootcamp app were lifesavers for me. The app contains subject-wise videos and later practice questions, and the pattern of those questions were quite similar to the exam pattern. After that, I only did microbiology and pathology from Mosby's review for NBDE Part 1 and skipped the other subjects. After that, in the last few days, I tried to mimic the examination-like environment with ASDA papers by attempting 360 questions on day 1 and 140 questions on day 2 with respective timings. I only did JLM series, which were looking quite relevant to me. After that, I also took paid mock tests by Capid and Udemy, thinking that they might simulate the actual examination, but none of them did. But it helped me to increase my sitting for the examination. Both of them costed me around $15 each. Then at last 10 to 15 days before my actual exam, I did a lot of RQ files from INBDE Facebook page. And later on, I noticed that 70 to 80% exam questions were from those RQ files. I want to mention one most important thing here, that please do not rely on the answers provided in the RQ files. Please try to find the correct answers by yourself, because after all, we all are humans and no one can remember the exam questions and answers perfectly. Now, just for the reference, this is the actual Mental Dental YouTube channel and bootcamp app page. I'm showing it because there are some fake Dr. Ryan's INBD pages and Telegram groups which might ask you money for bootcamp paid subscription, but please do not entertain them and pay only via authentic sources. This is the Facebook INBD page which I followed for RQs. And once you give your exam, you'll get the result within 3 to 4 weeks and it will look something like this. Now, a little something about scoring of this exam. The results are reported as either pass or fail, and the score scale ranges from 49 to 99. That means a score of 75 and above is pass and below is fail, and there is no negative marking also. But it doesn't mean that if 75% of your questions are correct, you'll pass this exam. Let me explain. It's a psychometric test in which scores are calculated based on responses provided by the candidates along with the characteristics such as quality of question, difficulty of question, and susceptibility to guessing. Some questions are experimental and are not even scored and used for future testing, but you'll not get to know which ones are scored and which ones are not. So attempt all the questions equally. Thank you and all the best for your exam. I hope you all will pass in your first attempt.